As Hisako continues to deal with her emerging mutant power, she must also face ghosts from her past. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Ultimate X-Men issue number 4 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, Hisako and her best friend Mei are just finishing up their exams. It's been a strange couple of weeks, to say the least, and things are only getting more complicated. You'll remember at the end of the previous issue, we were introduced to this universe's version of Nico Minoru. Her parents are the local psychics in town, and unlike everyone else around her, Nico actually seems to know what the term mutant actually means. Of course, Hisako and Mei aren't exactly sure if she's just being weird for weird's sake, or if she actually does have some sort of powers like them. Now, as the day comes to a close, Hisako gets ready to ride home on her motorcycle. You'll remember in a previous issue we heard she was going for riding lessons. Well, she finally got her license, and we can actually glean a lot from her bike. It's a 1980 Honda Raccoon, also known as a Harajuku bike. Also, the helmet she's wearing is a little big for her because it was actually her mother's. Apparently, before her father died, Hisako's mother and father actually used to ride bikes a lot together. This also lets us know that Hisako is actually probably more well acquainted with death than we first might have thought. It's on her way home, Hisako ends up getting accosted by some strange boy out in the rain. This kid's name we learn is Amano, which means Heaven's Field in Japanese. Hisako just can't shake the feeling that she knows this kid, and we eventually learn why. Turns out Amano was actually on the same basketball team with Tsubasa right before his mysterious suicide. Though that's not why Amano is all messed up right now. Again, you'll remember that it was the basketball team that actually bullied Tsubasa to the point of suicide before the coach and a bunch of the other players ended up dead themselves. Now it seems Amano has come under the corrupting sway of the Shadow King and is here now to actually try and fight Hisako, which he does by using borrowed shadow magic to drudge up a bunch of razor blades and start throwing them all over the place with pinpoint precision. Once again, Hisako probably would have been Swiss cheese were it not for her armor abilities once again activating themselves, and in a nice show of progression, she seems to actually be able to exert more control over her powers during the fight itself. As the fight goes on and Amano starts losing, things once again start taking crazy, cryptic, and horrifying turns. Hisako had already seen the decapitated head of her friend, but things really ratchet up when Amano takes one of the razor blades and slashes himself across the throat, creating a waterfall of blood that washes over armor. Now, what might end up making this important is that Amano, before he does it, says to Hisako, "Do you want to know how Tsubasa died?" even though up until now it's been heavily implied that Tsubasa hung himself. But between this and now the rolling head imagery, it's heavily implied that maybe the Shadow King knows more about Tsubasa's death than he's actually letting on. In fact, maybe it wasn't even a suicide at all. The commotion from this big mutant battle too also ended up drawing a crowd. People pull out their phones and start filming poor Hisako. Luckily, Mei is waiting in the wings and uses her electricity powers to short-circuit everyone's phones, making sure that there's no video evidence of what exactly went down here today. Unfortunately for our heroes, though, there was actually another person not too far away also filming the fight, a young blue-haired girl with the ability to manipulate electricity. Now, we don't actually learn this character's name in this issue, but from the solicitations, we learn two very important things. One, her code name is Surge, but her real name is Noriko Ashida. In the main 616 universe, this character was actually part of the 2004 version of the New Mutants, and was a Japanese native, which I thought was interesting. Now, as the comic comes to a close, Hisako and Mei return to school the next day, only to realize that they both failed their exams. That's pretty bad on its face, but it actually gets much worse as soon as they turn on social media. Hisako and Armor have gone full viral. Now it seems that everyone is going to have their eyes on them, and they're probably going to be hearing the word mutant a lot more moving forward, as this small-town murder mystery is set to explode into something much bigger. And so that was Ultimate X-Men issue number 4, everybody, and once again I thought Peach Momoko offered up a really solid, really fun, really creepy, really intriguing little story. We're really starting to see the stakes ratchet up as more and more superpowered characters end up getting introduced, and once again I like the use elusive Surge here. She was always a cool character with cool powers who never really got the spotlight. But this is a new universe with new rules where everyone gets a second kick at the can, which honestly seems to be a major theme across all of the Ultimate books right now. What I'm really starting to appreciate about this book too is its little back page factoids there. I feel a lot smarter for reading them. And as it honestly ends up adding a whole other layer of enjoyment and storytelling to the comic itself. It also just feels so incredibly different than any other X-Men book on the shelf right now, which is saying something because we're in that little sweet spot in between the end of Krakoa and the beginning of From Ashes. And I have to wonder how we'll see this book continue to grow and evolve and buck a lot of trends going on in the other mutant stories. Ultimately, I would give this one another very strong 8 out of 10. Good stuff. I really appreciate what this series is doing, carving out a unique identity for itself, and I am never bored when I finally get the chance to read it.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.